that question has been asked a few times today. I fly 20 years. I don't dare to sit up in a cockpit from an airliner because it's a total different system. The small airplanes, as we train here, are not hydraulic. The big planes are all hydraulic. They react completely different. I don't know what a person is capable to do. If you ask me, would you sit in an airliner and take that yoke to do what they did, I don't think I could do it. I think that the training what they had, maybe with 15, 20 hours in a jet, then they're capable to do such a thing.
That's very interesting. Mr. Deckers, thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Rudy Deckers, who is the CEO at Huffman Aviation in Venice, Florida, saying that the FBI is interested in 2 people who did small aircraft training at Huffman Aviation and then went on to take larger aircraft training somewhere else. George Stephanopoulos tells us something's happening downtown. George?
Peter, yes, we've just heard that there was a bomb scare on the corner of Harrison and Greenwich Street. It's a rolling suitcase, which the police identified in the middle of the block, and they're in the process of clearing it now, or at least several minutes ago they were in the process of clearing it. You know, we don't want to go too far and talk about every single incident that happens, but this is a credible report, and the police are in the process of clearing it right now.
Thanks very much,
Second,
George.
Peter.
Sorry, go ahead.
I also spoke just a few minutes ago with 2 firefighters who told me that the list now of firefighter casualties, the one that is up in the fire stations that they came from, is now above 340 casualties from the New York Fire Department.
I'm sorry, George. Someone interrupted me just as you gave me the figure. Would you give it to us again?
The list is over 340, according to these 2 fire department officials.
Thank you very much, George. I appreciate it. George Stephanopoulos, as close to the trade tower zone as you can get at the moment. Firefighters, the New York Fire Department now saying, at least according to George's sources, 340 firemen have unaccounted for at this point. Come back to the bomb scare. John Miller.
What you've been seeing since the explosions and the crashes at the World Trade Center is a long series of those. It started yesterday immediately as people got jittery about any package they saw on the street, anything they didn't recognize. And in fact, they were encouraged to report anything suspicious. So what you've had is a series of NYPD bomb squad units, out of an abundance of caution, running from place to place, checking these packages out. They use a portable X-ray and a bomb-sniffing dog, looking for the dog to react. Then they use the X-ray. If it looks clean to them, they do a hand entry. If it doesn't, they go the whole route with the robots. But this is something that has unfolded dozens of times since yesterday. This morning there was an explosion at Lincoln Hospital, which caused a great stir until everybody arrived on the scene and found out it was a generator with a backflash. But again, because of the events that have occurred, nerves are high and people are checking everything.
And there are always troublemakers. We never get over the fact that in the worst circumstances, there's always somebody willing to cause more trouble.
But many more of these are objects that were inadvertently placed somewhere or left somewhere than the malicious call to police. It's just people acting very cautiously.
Okay, John, thanks. A couple of other small pieces of information to report at the moment. We've learned that both America Online and Earthlink, 2 of the nation's major internet service providers, have been served with something called a surveillance order by the FBI. The FBI is apparently looking for internet connections and email traffic connected to those 2 sites, which millions of people use. And both companies want to be quoted as saying, "We are cooperating fully with the authorities." And when asked what details authorities are looking for, spokesman declined to be very specific. But we do know that 2 of the big internet service providers have been sought out by the FBI in terms of finding information. And baseball has now, organized baseball, Major League Baseball has now postponed all of its Thursday games, which would account for the 3rd straight day that the schedule is going to be wiped out. Ron Claiborne is on the phone from Boston. So what's happening in the Westin Hotel, Ron?
Well, Peter, I am outside of the Westin Copley Plaza, a 35-story hotel and shopping complex which has been evacuated, and the crowd which is gathered outside is being pushed back further and further from that hotel. The bomb squad, or a bomb squad vehicle, is in front along with 2 ambulances. And the police here are not saying anything, but in talking to a number of people in the crowd, They say they saw what appeared to be an individual being hustled by a large number of heavily armed police officers into a vehicle and driven away. Several other people said they have seen a civilian taken away on a stretcher about 45 minutes ago. One person I spoke to, with the caveat, of course, that this person is not among the authorities, says he heard two police officers speaking among each other, saying that they had taken into custody one suspect and that, in the words of this person, the other one was dead or wounded. And he added that one of them had driven a cab for 15 years. That is an important remark, if that is indeed true, because we know that the authorities were looking into the Boston Cab Company, where two former associates of Osama bin Laden had worked in previous years. One of those people was subsequently killed, and the other is now in jail.
Okay, thanks very much, Ron Claiborne in Boston, who will bring us up to date. In terms of these cab drivers, we assume that these are alleged associates of Osama bin Laden, and Ron Claiborne quick to point out there that these are overheard conversations involving one man dead and another man wounded being removed from the Westin Hotel in the Copley Plaza. Just keep a break on all of the things that keep coming in from other places. No reflection on reporters. We just have to remind ourselves all the time that we are talking about, in very many cases, second-hand and third-hand information. Try to tell you when it is. And when we get our traditional 2 or possibly 3 sources, then we're a good deal more confident of the information that we have. Cynthia McFadden.
We keep endeavouring to bring you the best and the latest from the US. We leave ABC there now and take you back to CNN's coverage and some remarkable pictures from the World Trade Center bombing.
In search of their relatives and have been deflected, not necessarily out of any disregard for those people, but because of the sheer exhaustion of the amount of work that needs to be done there.
There's a lot of work. In most of the hospitals, when we were in Bellevue, they have crisis counselors set up where they have lists to talk to you, and they have lists of people at different hospitals, whether it's an unknown person or in the name of a victim, and they're trying to be as helpful as they can, but it's very difficult for them. They have their jobs to do in taking care of patients as well as dealing with people who are coming to look for patients.
Have you been able to be in touch with any people who may have worked with your brother-in-law at that office?
We spoke to one of the partners from his law firm who had seen him, who said that if it were not for my brother-in-law, for Andrew, people would still be sitting at their desks. Andrew went around and told them all that they should get out of the building. And we spoke to actually his secretary, who told us that she had seen him in the staircase and doesn't know anything further than that.
That was going to be my question. What kind of a man is your brother-in-law? Because we've heard the stories of folks who engineered the exits of several other people after the first explosions and the call to get out of the building quickly. Would your brother-in-law have been one of those kinds of people?
My brother-in-law has a heart of gold. After the first plane hit, he called, my sister called him. He said, "I'm okay, I'll call you back." And then she hadn't heard from him, but he is the sweetest man who would go back in to try to help people. And apparently an announcement was made that the building was secure. So maybe he was trying to tell other people to get out and to move out and that they should keep going. He's the kind of person who would put others' safety probably before his own. He's just a very, very sweet man.
I know there must be others who are in a similar situation to yours. Is there anything you can tell folks who may have been attempting to find their loved ones only to run into a stone wall?
The only thing that